Hello everybody, Zagrom here again, and today I am playing Kerbal Space Program. Now, before I start, I'm going to say it's been a few days since I've been recording. I had some issues with Don't Starve, and then I got busy with some server stuff on Minecraft server. So, I found this game a couple days ago, and man, I love it. I love it. I really like space related games, and I feel like there's not enough of them out there, and I personally haven't seen any that's quite like this. This is the exact kind of game I've been waiting for a space related game. So in the past I've been stuck playing things like Spore and Universe Sandbox, but neither of those really do anything quite like. So we'll go ahead and click Start Game, and I've been messing around with it for a few days. I've learned most of the stuff I've done by myself. We're going to start a new one, and it says player name, but I'm just going to pretend like I'm naming our home base thing, and I'm going to use the name that's probably been done 1,000 times already. Cape Kerbal. You do start off on a shore, so I mean it kind of makes sense, and there is no career mode, unfortunately, but when there is, I'm really excited for it. But Sandbox, still fun. I will also point out that I have some mods and stuff already installed. I doubt I'll be using any of the pre-made ships, and I'm going to be trying to do this kind of like a real space program. About the farthest thing I've really done in the game so far is really practice my orbits, and that means I haven't done anything like docking or landing anywhere else in our little solar system. Haven't even gone to the moon. The only moon encounter I've had is accidentally sending a satellite nearby it, and kind of slingshotted it off the moon and was able to bring it back into the orbit of Kerbal. Kerbal is the planet that we're on, and I don't know how much I'll be messing with the planes. I'm definitely not going to do that today, so we're going to start this like a real space program, and we'll open up the builder here, and we'll this is going to be unmanned. Because we got to test first. We don't know what we're doing. We've just learned that space is not a flat thing, and we want to get up there. And we're just learning our basics. Like I said, I have a bunch of parts, and but I'm going to treat this like, we're just starting out here. So we don't know what we're doing. Just stick that on there. That looks good. And we want to rocket. That'll get to space, right? We'll name this Alpha Test A. Oops. Mark 1. And, launch. So we'll see how this goes by itself. And let's turn on our throttle all the way up, and 3, 2, 1, launch. Pretty good, right? Yeah, fuel's doing alright. Surely we'll get to space like this. Be quite honest, it's already going farther than I expected it. And we're about to run out of fuel, and we're not going to make it into space, so I'm going to try to send us in a course that will hopefully put this in the ocean rather than back on our pad. It doesn't matter. This game is still alpha, but still I want to treat it kind of more like a realistic thing. And I already knew that we weren't going to make it into space with this, although admittedly much higher than I expected. And so I was trying to send this back into the ocean, and that looks like what's going to happen. So test 1 looks pretty successful. We got to an apiapsis of about, let's see, what is that, 26 kilometers? I think it's 1,000 meters to a kilometer, so about 26 kilometers up. And it's getting there 5 seconds, and then it'll start to fall back down and land probably somewhere over here, because it is going to have drag from the atmosphere. So, mission successful into actually getting up. Now, let's speed up time and just go ahead and get this thing to crash. So we can start our next mission, the goal to actually get out of our atmosphere and see what is up in this big open blackness we call space. And I can angle it, doesn't really matter. Sploosh. It was unmanned, so no real loss, right? And as we see, we got liftoff, splash down. It was destroyed. Yep, all the parts were destroyed. Not really a shock. And mostly all we learned is that we are able to go up, and it really wasn't enough to get us into space. So let's start. I'm going to check right fast. Okay, it doesn't have any of my stuff that I've made on my other game save, so that's fine. I'm not going to use any of this stuff anyway. I just was wondering if it was there. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep this unmanned part. And, we'll keep this too. The goal this time is to get up there, maybe orbit. Really kind of depends. And also this time we will add some fins. Down over here we have our symmetry mode, and we'll put 3 fins maybe. And I'm going to try, I've never actually done this, angling like this. Try to do it sort of like an arrow. Maybe that's too much. Oops, that's not what I want. This. Angle it back. Slightly angled, like an arrow. Hopefully that'll keep us going straight. And we'll call this Alpha Test Mark II. And let's launch. Now, we'll see if this gets us up. Not really sure. Let for physics to take effect. Throttle up. And 3, 2, 1, lift off. Now we're taking off slower, which makes sense, we have more weight. But we should have more fuel over here. The spinning is happening like I expected, which should, in theory, help keep us straight. It also makes it incredibly hard to... Now this is the first time I've ever done this, and I'm realizing now it's a bit of a problem. Oh, because now I can't control which way I'm turning. Oh, yeah. This is an issue. We're learning. It's part of this thing. Now, if we do fall, we're not going to fall in the ocean as I've been trying to do previously. Turn on... Oh... Okay, oh no, we are losing control. Let's, nope, that didn't. Nope, we have, pretty much zero control right now. Little bits of control, but really not enough to get it to do anything I want it to. So, the spinning thing does work-ish. Let's cut back on the throttle for a minute and see if we can't, I want to go that way. I don't have very much control. We are about to leave the atmosphere, which was mostly our goal this time. Where's our flight path taking us? We are going over the ocean currently. Ooh, yeah, we're definitely getting in the atmosphere now. Let's just go ahead and see how high up we can get. I have no real... Oh? I don't know. I might get into... No, we're not going to get into orbit. That's still way too far. But with this rocket, we could have potentially gotten into orbit, actually. Which is a bit surprising. We're leaving the atmosphere now. but gravity will still be pulling us back in, so... Mission successful in the fact that we did actually get into space. So 10 minutes of testing and we've made it into space. Cool. The spinning part works. I don't know where I would use that, at least not right now, because if I do that I can't really control which direction on the axis I'm going, and that's extremely important in this game. So we'll just we'll throttle down and we'll let that kind of do whatever it's going to continue to do and go back to our building. So now that we know that this can get us up there, first of all we're going to adjust this back so that it's straight, get our symmetry on, and we're just going to use 2 actually. I don't think we're going to need any more than that. And what we're going to try to do is actually make something of a satellite up there. And to do that, I'm going to, let's see, we want this, and get some kind of decoupler that's too big. I don't know all the sizes of everything. I forget a lot of the parts a lot of times actually. We want a decoupler that is too big. There we go, this one's fine. Attach that, and now we can release this part from this one down here. And I'll even though it's not really necessary, I'm going to do it anyway just because, you know, we're kind of pretending we're actually doing things here. Let's see what's in our utility. I think we have some, here we go, these. Some solar panels. We want, I forget which one of these is which. This one I think is the one I want. And we'll just chuck 2, how will that look at an angle? No, that's gonna look weird. Put these on, let's see, rotate these. Forgot how to rotate there. Like that maybe. And we'll also, where is a thingy? One of these. Yeah, let's go ahead and stick. Oh, no, there is a smaller one of these. This one right here. We'll get 2, even though that's probably way more than we need, but it's going to keep us balanced. And we'll put on control these little propulsion systems. Sir. We just probably want 1 as small as this thing is. So, whoops. Take this down to 1. And find it again. It's over on this page. Here we go. And kind of have to manually center this. About there, maybe? That looks fine. Oh. Can't attach it because of these. Attach that, and then we'll figure out how to get this on. There we go. Oh, there's only 1. What, 2? Nope, that's way too many. 8. Come on. There we go. Right there. It's a little clipping, but that fixes itself. So now we'll take a look at staging here. And we only have 2 stages. The rocket goes off, and then we release this decoupler here, which in theory will release our satellite that we've made. Alright, so alpha test Mark 3, alpha test A Mark 3. Let's launch. Let's see if we can't get into an orbit. So we'll throttle up and 3, 2, 1, liftoff. So they should go up at about the same rate as our last one. If we look, yeah, that last one is still up in our atmosphere because we left it to kind of do whatever it was going to do. It shouldn't be a problem. It'll come back and splash down in the ocean. So, oh, we are already angling, and we don't necessarily want that quite yet. We do have to manually control it right now because I haven't put any kind of control systems on, which means I have to do everything manually. Now, after this, we'll probably start using those, but for now, I was going to, I guess, try to show that it can be done manually, even though it's an absolute pain in the neck. I don't think we have any sort of control. No, we're already tilting again. Oh. Because we're controlling it manually, our orbit is probably going to be completely wonky, but luckily this is a small satellite and likely won't run into anything else that we put up there. We'll just have to be cautious as the distance we're throwing it out there, that it'll stay out of the way. I'm having a bit of trouble. I'm getting my controls reversed every so often, but that's okay. Now we're leaving the most dense part of the atmosphere, which is good. We can start to angle. Oh, I've made a critical error, it looks like. I've used up too much fuel. We're also angled way off from what I want. Yeah, we're going to have to conserve our fuel now and wait for us to get to our I always forget how to pronounce this. The big A word. And we got to angle towards the horizon because we have enough vertical lift now that we need some horizontal thrust. Ideally, we want to be going around the 90-degree axis. That should put us horizontal with our planet, or at least close. The amount of control I have is pretty limited. I could turn on my little booster, and that would give me a lot more control over where I'm facing. I may end up having to do that. Hitting caps lock to adjust this, it puts me into a mode where I have a little bit more sensitive control over where I'm facing, and I'm doing a horrible job at that. We have like no atmosphere now, and we're running out of time, so I am going to turn on my thruster at the front to give me a little bit more control in theory. And I'm going to start my jet now, even though I'm not really exactly where I want. I have limited control over where I'm facing. Now I'm not using full throttle because I want to conserve some of this fuel, and we want to stay nearish to this. We are getting closer to it. It's fine. As long as we don't fall into the other side, we should maintain a good amount of control. Now I may have to maneuver from this menu. It's less interesting as far as the space look is concerned, but oh, I need to throttle up to keep this in front of me. I have failed to do that, and I'm out of fuel. So this mission was a failure. We did not have enough thrust to get us into orbit. Not really a shock, but it was a good try. While we're up here, I guess we'll go ahead and just, because we don't have much else to do, we will test, are these things going? I guess they are. I just can't see. We'll test the other stuff. We'll test our solar panels. Oops. And, oops. Extend, please. Those seem to work as intended. I didn't expect them not to, but it's good that they work anyway. And we'll test our decoupling. We'll press spacebar and release from the lower stage. Now both of these things are going to be falling to the Earth, but we may as well test it anyway. This is what our satellite would have looked like if we had gotten it into space properly. You know, we do still have a little bit of control over this thing because we have this thruster on it, but it has no hope of getting into an orbit with what little power that this has. So we will now be drifting into the planet, and that is the end of that mission. So obviously we're going to have to try a little harder to get into space. Real space, meaning in orbit. We'll keep our satellite the way it is. I like it like that. We are going to adjust one thing about it. We're going to have to probably pull this off. And that is adding a module for controlling the where we're facing and going. Now, we do have a little bit of control down here. I think that this is a gimbaling rocket. I may have to double check, and it really doesn't matter because during this rocket stage, most of what's being controlled is by these because we still have atmosphere. So we'll toss this on again, and oops, forgot to turn that on. So we get 2. Although we'll probably never need 2 full things of this with what we're doing with it. Still going to do it anyway. Now, let's see. Something else that we're going to have to take into account is when we release this second stage, or this stage from our little satellite here, we're going to want this in an orbit that's a little different from this, otherwise eventually they'll run into each other, and we don't want that. Even though this satellite doesn't really mean much to us, we want to prevent any kind of like crashing in with debris. So I think this is under propulsion, what I'm looking for. Okay, yeah, here it is. Sepatron 1. So what this is it's a little tiny rocket that gives this a little, whatever you attach it to, a little bit of a push. So we'll rotate this the right way, eventually. Nope. There we go, that works. And we'll put it here. Actually, I'm a little afraid that if I put it there, that it's going to, the jet from it is going to push on our satellite. We don't really want that. So I'm going to put it down closer to the bottom so that it hopefully won't affect anything. And find it on our list. It's here, or they're both down here, and that's not what we want. We want it to go off whenever we separate. So we want to pull these up here. So that way our rocket goes, and then we separate from our rocket. At the same time we separate, these go off to launch this stage away from our satellite up here. So we kind of determined that we need more power. So what we'll do, what will we do? Let's actually move this back up a smidge, and we'll try to attach more rockets. When in doubt, add more rockets. That's not really a very good motto, but it works. Well, it really doesn't work all the time. Sometimes it just weighs you down and you don't get anywhere. But we're going to try to be efficient about this. Let's grab this, and we want 2. It's on the symmetry mode. We'll put it here. Yeah, that looks fine. And propulsion, we'll grab more of these. If I can get it to attach. It's not wanting to. Ah, there we go. There we go. And we'll actually grab another one and put it below. And what I'm actually going to do from here is use one of these fuel duct things and attach it to here to here. Now what I think this will do is this main engine will be draining fuel from these side engines while these engines are still draining from them. And the benefit of that means that these are just extra fuel for this middle one, so that when I release these, this one will still be a full tank of fuel. But it will still have had the extra thrust to get up with these as we're going up. Now we have to set up these decouplers here. These rockets go, I want all of these rockets to go at the same time. So Yep, that's all those rockets. Then we decouple from here, and then we decouple from up here and also release these. So that should do it. Let's test the Alpha Test A Mark IV, and let's launch. Throttle up. Now that we have this this SAS module up here, I forget what that stands for, but that's what controls our direction. We can turn that on, and it will automatically try to adjust and make us go where we're pointing already, which happens to be exactly straight up. So that's what we want. So we will keep that on, and throttles up, and 3, 2, 1, liftoff. Ooh. We seem to have a problem with these thrusters not working. Now, I'm going to cut back on the throttle because this isn't going to work. No, I'm not sure. Oh, we are going to crash. Yep. I'm not sure what happened there. We're going to have to inspect that. End our flight. Yep. Yeah, we crashed in the launch pad. And we'll go back to the vehicle assembly building. Now, apparently there's something about these I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Apparently those are not going to work with the kind of fuel I'm using, I guess. So, that's too big. Also too big. Too big. Maybe too big? Too big? Eventually one will fit. Oh. Now let's look at this for a second. Now this requires electricity apparently. But it is called the Orbital Achievement Device. That sounds good, but I'm actually gonna just go with the kind of engine we have down here. Like that. And that way I know it'll work. So we'll just call this a 4.1 and we'll launch. And throttle up. SAS on, and 3, 2, 1, lift off. Much better. Yeah, now we're going up, we're staying straight. You'll probably be able to see this is making micro adjustments to where we're pointing to keep us going straight. That's thanks to the computer system we have up here. So that's good. And these are going down, these outer engines are going down pretty quickly, and that's expected. We're going to eject them probably directly onto our launch pad, but that, like I said, that doesn't really matter. Later on it probably will, but right now it doesn't. Check our map, see what our altitude is currently going to be. About 11 kilometers. We're going to eject these off here in just a moment. And there they go. We don't need those anymore. Going to land on our launch pad, but that doesn't matter, like I said. 16, 17. We want to get up to about 80-ish to be safe. I think we could be a little lower, like 70,000 kilometers, or 70,000 meters, not kilometers, and it would work out. I am a little curious if we're going to have the fuel. I'm hoping we do. I'm going to pull back on our throttle just a little bit. Pulls back to maybe 2/3, it looks like. Oh, yeah, we're going up quickly now. That's good. Check our resources here. Plenty of monopropellant. What we're looking at here... Oh, okay, that's Sepatron. We're looking at here is these. Okay. Pull back on the throttle. Go up a little more. Get that extra altitude up to 80. Okay, it's looking good. Okay, so... And let's start our gravity turn, which might be actually a little late. Let's turn on our RCS so we can adjust quicker. Staying on that 90-degree angle. As close as we can. We want to get horizontal here so that we're facing flat with the planet. And slow down that turn. And SAS on. Should autocorrect itself. We have 48 seconds before we reach our that thing, which is the height of our current arc. Pretty accurate as to where we want to be. It's good. We are really relying on just this one little thing to keep us straight right now. If we turned our rocket on, this would help. 22 seconds. I'm going to start our burn now. Turn off the RCS. Save that fuel. Um, 10 seconds. We're going to throttle up a little harder now. Looks like we're going to pass it. That's really okay. I'd rather not, but let's try like that. I heard a noise that was a little concerning, but I'm not too worried. I've angled this up a little bit to keep this kind of coming with us. Angle it back down now that it's caught up. Making micro adjustments to keep it near us, to keep our fuel efficiency good. And cutting back a little bit on our fuel, or throttle I mean, because it is getting further away from us. And we want to keep close to that if we can. Using only a small amount of fuel to keep us moving in a forward direction. It still seems to be moving away, so I can cut back a little farther on fuel, or throttle. I keep saying fuel. We're getting closer to it now. That's fine. Fuel, we're about out, unfortunately. I don't think we're going to make a proper orbit. We're going to be short. That is a shame. You might be thinking, why don't I go full throttle? It's fuel efficiency, and... Oh! Here in a second, I'm going to go full throttle and see what I can do. And see how close I can get. I'm not confident. Oh! We did get in orbit. Ooh. Wow. That was... I'm surprised. I don't know if it's a good orbit. Not really. But yeah, I'm out. I literally just ran out of fuel. I'm surprised we got an orbit at all, to be perfectly honest. We're running out of electric charge. If we do, we're going to lose control of our satellite. So I'm going to extend these, well, at least a panel so that we don't lose charge. I've made this mistake before. I didn't even know it could happen. So on my other game, I have a satellite I have no control over. And yeah, that's a problem. So we got our electric charge back up. Just want to make sure I want to have these in while I make my maneuvers to get it into position, but I just want to keep control over my satellite. Now, what I'm going to do at this point, turn the SAS off, see if we can't slowly adjust ourselves into a position where I can get rid of this rocket. Now, I want to be angled sort of like this, at a diagonal, I think. That way it's slowing down against the atmosphere, and hopefully we'll drop it off into the ocean. That way we have less debris. I don't know how well that's going to work, but that is my goal. So we are traveling this way. So we must stay on the 90 degree and go up maybe here? Not too sure. I'm not a mathematician. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm making educated guesses with my natural physics understanding. So I'll stop about here. Turn on the RCS to adjust to get us facing properly. And yeah, let's say goodbye to our first stage, which has gotten us into space and into orbit, which I really did not expect. And 3, 2, 1, jet. Wow, those things have some kick. Let's see how that's looking. It went off really fast, but I don't know that it's actually going to yeah, those have stopped. It is still getting further away. I'm not convinced it's going to go, you know, it's still in orbit and still a danger to everyone. Well, I don't know that that could have been prevented. We've just changed it into a very bizarre orbit that will at some point intersect with us. So, congratulations there, but, you know, for now, and maybe for many years, we're fine. Now our electric charge is getting down again. I was not paying attention to that. Let's open these back up. And you will notice that I have I have made this rocket so that our SAS is still attached, so we will have full control over what way we're facing. Yeah, we're already fully charged. This thing doesn't need much charge. It really probably don't even need these big solar panels. But let's see, we'll turn our SAS off. And what I'm going to do... Ooh, we have a lot of control now, because I'm going to turn it on to the fine-tuning mode. Because it's so light, it's easy for us to maneuver this thing around. So, let's... Actually, we might not even need the RCS, it's so light. Yeah, we have plenty of control. So what I'm going to do, I think, is... put it about here, and then adjust it so that we're facing, I don't know, north it looks like. Yeah, north. Start to slow that down. And we will angle it about like that. Now, from my understanding of how orbits work, if I face it like in a direction, like north or whatever, along this line, that'll have a big benefit in the fact that it'll always, in this direction, be the same. It'll rotate this way because we're not in a geosynchronous orbit, so this direction it'll always rotate. But this way it should remain the same. Now that's really important if we're going to be doing docking, because then we could put a docking port on this side or whatever, and they will always be facing the same way, or at least very close. So you can that way you can just come up an angle with that same direction and dock forward and backwards. You don't have to worry nearly as much about the fact that it might be rotating. So there we go. Episode 1, we have a satellite in orbit. It doesn't technically do anything, but it looks nice, and it does prove some scientific stuff about orbits or something. We didn't get it in a very good orbit. It's a little elliptical, but actually, did it slow down? Somehow our orbit has, maybe it was when we ejected that thing. I didn't think that would have affected us, but it looks like, I don't know, we might be skimming the atmosphere. This might be in a decaying orbit, which means if it's hitting the atmosphere over here, that means it'll slow down over time and eventually drag and fall into the atmosphere. I could potentially resolve this using just our RCS thrusters, but this isn't a very important satellite, so it's not a huge deal in my opinion. Can we? No, that's fine. It's not a huge deal. The only problem we really have is the space debris, which I think is going to be in orbit forever. Not sure how I could have gotten rid of that better. Oh, I think I know what I did wrong. I faced the wrong way, so I jetted it towards the direction and basically slingshotted it around the planet. I should have shot it this way to slow it down. I was thinking backwards. Oh well. I think if I'd done it the other way, if it didn't go into and just crash into the planet, it would have been in a decaying orbit as well, but instead I've kind of stuck it up there. Hopefully it won't be a problem. It's pretty low, so. But there you go. Episode 1, we've launched into space, had a few failures, but overall, mission accomplished. We got a satellite up there, we're learning about our solar system, and soon, very soon, we will conquer the galaxy. Eclipse.